Back in the olden days, people had to make the most of what they had. You just couldn't be wasteful and throw things away. Everything had to be used to the max before you even considered disposing of them. Frugality was just the way of life. I'm sure I'm not the only person whose grandmother used to always say, back in my day, we never used to spend what we didn't have, and if you look after the pennies, the pounds will look after yourself. If you haven't guessed it already, today's video, we are talking about some old-fashioned living tips that are perfect in the modern frugal world. So if you are interested in that type of video, please make sure to hit that like button. And if you are new, please make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time a new video goes live. So let's start off with how old-fashioned frugality worked in the kitchen. The first one is bake your own bread. I personally always think about baking bread. I think about all the gadgets that you need. I think about the bread makers, all that stuff. But actually in reality, you can find a very relatively easy recipe and you can bake your own bread. The next thing is not to waste food because of expiry dates. How many times, and I'm guilty of this, how many times have you decided to throw something off because it was past its expiry date? My parents and my grandparents have always told me, you have been gifted with a sense of smell. Use it. If it smells off, then it's off. If it doesn't, then it's not. The third one is to cook from scratch. It can be so easy to buy convenience food because, let's be honest, it's convenient. But cooking from scratch is not only healthier, but it doesn't also have to take as much. With good meal planning and good prepping of your food, you can cook from scratch and it's delicious and it won't take as long. Use more beans and lentils in your food. I absolutely love this. Using more beans and lentils in my food not only stocks it up, but it increases the amount of protein that you have in your dish, and they are relatively cheap to purchase. And because you're using more beans and lentils, that also means you will be making meat a minor part of your meal. Not only is meat expensive, but you can actually start to think about ways that you can utilize it, or other things that are cheaper, so potatoes, rice, and that's what I like to do. Start to eat more cheap meals like soup. So again, cooking from scratch doesn't mean you have to throw down a 6-course meal, but actually you can just make something as easy as soup that is satisfying and delicious and nutritious. And of course, if you accompany it with your homemade bread, it's also going to taste really, really good. So start incorporating a couple more of those in your meal planning. Also utilize all your leftovers, not only to reduce food waste, but to also save money. It can be so easy to throw away food once you're done with, but actually you can find different recipes that you can use leftovers for and use them at lunchtime. So if you watched one of my other videos where I talked about how I purchase chicken and I think about how to use it in multiple ways, so if I'm left with leftovers, I can use it for the next day for lunch, but I can also use it in a completely different meal, and that way it saves me money, and it also, to be honest with you, saves me time because I haven't got to cook a whole entire meal from scratch. So this one I've started to do a little bit more often, which is to make my own stock, because it can be so easy and so cheap to buy loads and loads of stock cubes, but actually when I'm preparing different meals, I've found ways to make stock, and you can find so many recipes online to teach you how to do it. It's actually not that expensive, and nor is it that hard, but you can do that and it can just ump up a lot of your meals because you can use it in a variety of meals. So have a think about that. And then of course, try and eat at home as much as possible. It can be so tempting to go out and buy something, go out and eat somewhere, but actually those costs are significantly higher. In fact, I've become those mums who now says there's food at home. And if you know, you know. Always reuse old containers. Now, if you are somebody who purchases things in containers and throws them away, do not do that. Repurpose them, reuse them, and it will not only help you with saving the amount of plastic in the world, but actually it's a great way to just save stuff. And whilst we are at it, something that I've found out a lot of people do that I've never done before is to rewash foil, aluminium foil, and use it again. I have never thought of doing this because there's some instances where I do use foil for my oven, and I can see that actually it's not as dirty, but I throw it away anyway. But you can actually wash it and reuse it, and I've never thought about that. So I might try that one out. If you have, please let me know in the comments below. Does it work? Is it effective? Let me know. Another one is to reuse your old clothes and sheets as rags to clean your house. Now, I have to be honest, this is something that I have just started, because I used to be one of those people, if it's old, if it's done, if it's torn, if it's dusty, I am done with it. It is going in the bin. It is over. But I can actually repurpose them. Not only is it good because you are not throwing away stuff, but it actually helps me substitute using paper towels, which also has a cost associated to it. Using soap bars instead of soap dispensers. I have to put my hands up and say this is something that I am starting to do now, because I like convenience and I like the fact that you can just get a soap dispenser and it's a lot easier. But actually, the longevity of a soap bar lasts longer. So I'm gonna have to start switching to using soap bars. And whilst we are on the topic of cleaning, start making your own homemade cleaning products. This I like because actually a lot of our cleaning products have toxins in them that are not actually good for the environment and or good for your health. So having to start making your own and using vinegar and stuff like that, it's cost effective because you don't need much to actually clean your house. And for the most part, you can also use some food scraps. Say for example, once you've used lemon, you can use the lemon peel to clean your home, and that way you are not only saving your money, but you are utilizing what you have to the maximum. And whilst you are doing that, you might as well clean your window with your vinegar cleaning product as well as with some newspapers. I remember doing this when we were young, and it should be something that I try today as well. So another thing you can do is fix your own stuff. It can be so easy to call out a handyman, but actually the costs associated with calling out a handyman are significant. And it's convenient because somebody else can do it and they do it really well. But actually, if you take the time to learn, you can learn the skill and you can, for the most part, fix a lot of things. But what I would say is stay clear away from anything that involves a certificate or involves any of your pipes in your house. Get a professional to do this. But I'm talking about little things like putting up IKEA furniture. Hello. You can learn to do that yourself and it will save you money. You can also start to grow your own food. Now, I like this from a health perspective because you know it's organic, it's natural, and you know exactly what you're getting in. And of course, you are learning a skill on gardening. And once you have grown your products and you harvest them, learn to preserve them. So not only am I talking about the simpler stuff of like making sure everything that you grow, you freeze as needed, but also just learning how to like pickle stuff. You know, I love quite a lot of pickled stuff. I like pickled gherkins, but that's something that I obviously can grow gherkins and I need to learn how to pickle them myself. So I'm going to start doing that as well. And whilst I'm at it, I am going to learn to store products in old tights. Now, I like this because this is two-part. Not only do you get to store your products and make them last for a longer time, but there is nothing as annoying as knowing that you have a hole in your tights and you have to throw the entire thing away. So this way you get to repurpose things around your home, and it's just, you know, it's just better. We're here for repurposing things and making sure we are maximizing the use of things. And of course, if you are living in a property that's way too big, you can always downsize to a property that's smaller. So this one is for my mums who constantly have to buy crafting things and papers to entertain your child. Make sure they are using both sides of the paper before you throw it away or you recycle it. And this is something that I realized I wasn't doing because we would be doing, like, for example, we'd be doing our writing or we'd just be having fun drawing, and my son would only use one side. But now I've taught him to turn it over and to use two sides, as well as teaching him that actually let's utilize the most of it before we change it. Another one, if you've watched a lot of my videos, is exercising outside and utilizing the space that you have outside to exercise. I'm talking about walking, running, jogging, skipping, doing everything that you can, as well as your home workouts. And if you're anything like me, you will discover new places around you that you didn't know
were there. So have a look and explore your local area. Again, for my new mums, one thing to try out is cloth nappies. Now I wish I had done this, because when I think about how many nappies we had gone through that were disposable, that are probably sitting in some landfill somewhere, I feel kind of bad, you know. And I wish I had used a lot more cloth nappies and just found out the proper way to use them, because to be honest with you, they save you a significant sum of money and you can use them for multiple children. And then finally is pay more with cash. Now I am the biggest culprit that if I have to pay by debit card, I don't think about it. I just tap my card and it's gone. But if I have cash, I'm very much more aware of how much more I'm spending. So I started using more of a cash system where I can. And I think I had to go on pause during lockdown because people weren't handling cash as much. But I think post-lockdown, I'll start to think a little bit more about how I can use cash envelopes and how that will help me with getting to my financial goals. Now, I really genuinely hope you've enjoyed this video. Please make sure to check out this video that will show you all the frugal living hacks that I am currently implementing in my life that are literally saving me hundreds of pounds. And if you want to start on the frugal journey, check that video out. And until the next video, please make sure to like and subscribe and to hit that notification bell. Take care. Bye.